in front of my eyes, I saw our factory and office building going down to ashes. An office cannot catch fire, but here when I came, almost the entire building was on fire. We had a very good projects department having all the project information of our all past projects. They were burning down in front of my eyes and I was not able to do anything about it.
To say that today's business environment is technology-centric is to state the obvious. Even the smallest premises today will most often contain sensitive and expensive equipment. Computers, faxes, electronic switchboards are virtually everywhere, and the data losses caused by damage to hardware or software would wreak havoc for most organizations. In such an environment, although fire safety is paramount, the normal powder-based extinguishers would be unsuitable. They are relatively more difficult to clean and can cause damage to delicate equipment due to corrosion. It is precisely for this reason that Ceasefire's CO2 extinguisher was born, to provide a clean agent fire extinguisher which uses a non-corrosive, non-conductive gas as extinguisher. However, CO2 extinguishers have a major disadvantage, and that is their weight. A CO2 cylinder weighs almost as much as a gas cylinder, a daunting 18.5 kgs. As you can imagine, this renders it difficult for an ordinary person to lift, let alone transport and operate. The reason for this weight is that the gas in CO2 extinguishers is stored at pressure levels as high as 70 bars, so the cylinders have to be made of a very thick, heavy metal. All Ceasefire CO2 extinguishers carry a Department of Explosives certification and serial number. Ceasefire sources only from the two certified DOE-approved manufacturers of CO2 cylinders. In the interest of low pricing, many manufacturers resort to buying their cylinders from cheaper, non-DOE-approved suppliers. On occasion, 6 or 7-year-old cylinders are recycled, repainted, and sold as new, regardless of their condition. These cylinders are highly hazardous. Because they are under such high pressure continuously, they may explode at any time. With this weight as a given, the task was to make this heavy cylinder portable. It had to be easy to carry to the fire, and it had to be relatively easy to lift and maneuver while fighting the fire. Ceasefire's designers drew inspiration from luggage, the way it is designed. Suitcases are ergonomically constructed to allow substantial weight to be carried easily. If the handle is exactly at the center of gravity, the load is transferred to a group of muscles in the arm that are more capable of bearing the load. So, by placing Ceasefire's ergonomically designed plastic handle dead center of the extinguisher, the design team distributed the load to the appropriate muscle group, thus greatly enhancing Ceasefire's portability. Now, if you contrast this with the crude metal handle on, let's call it brand X, which is positioned off-center, you'll see how it makes the extinguisher far more unwieldy and heavy. Having managed to make the CO2 extinguisher easy to carry over a short distance, its weight was still too great to carry over longer distances. Once again, inspired by the luggage industry, Ceasefire's designers placed wheels at the base of the unit, allowing users to pull the extinguisher behind them, much like the trolleys used on luggage today. The second task, that of making the extinguisher easy to lift while fighting a fire, still remained. The problem was solved by extending the hose to the length of a fully outstretched arm. You don't need to lift the extinguisher at all. You simply roll it to the side of the fire, leave it on the ground, and extend the hose to the height and reach of the outstretched arm to fight the fire. Besides, conventional CO2 extinguishers have a rounded base and therefore will not stand independently while being operated. Ceasefire's CO2 extinguisher, on the other hand, has a level base, so it stands steady hands-free. Another disadvantage of conventional CO2 extinguishers is the method of activation. The safety seal is made of steel wire, tough to break. The valve is screwed on very tight and has a small diameter with hard serrated edges, all of which makes it difficult to grip and turn. Finally, once the valve is open, the CO2 gas rushes out, chilling the metal valve to sub-zero temperatures. All these factors can greatly impair a user's ability to fight fire effectively. Remember also that fires grow exponentially over time. The minutes lost in all the above activities could literally reduce an extinguisher's efficiency by up to 40%. The solution was a complete redesign of both the safety pin and discharge mechanism of traditional CO2 extinguishers. The safety pin and the locking seal are designed as a single operation assembly, allowing instantaneous release in one smooth motion. To break the safety seal, the user has but to slip a finger in the pin ring and pull gently, all in one single action. The pin ring is crafted of polypropylene. Once the seal is broken, the trigger is depressed, discharging the extinguishant. Besides, Ceasefire CO2 also has a 100% accurate used-unused indicator that tells users whether the extinguisher is usable or not. Contrast this with the external seal used in conventional extinguishers that can easily be reversed and tampered with. All this has been achieved with the maximum aesthetics and visual appeal. If an extinguisher is an eyesore and does not blend into the decor, customers tend to hide it out of sight. Unfortunately, out of sight also often means out of mind. Obviously, in the case of an extinguisher, this could prove disastrous. This visual comparison between Ceasefire CO2 extinguisher and a competitor speaks volumes for itself. One fits into the most elegant interior, the other is likely to be put in some dark corner. But the most important advantage is the time factor. In fact, if we watch Ceasefire CO2 and another brand in action simultaneously, we can see that in the time the other extinguisher takes to simply be in the ready mode to fight a fire, Ceasefire has put out the fire already. Watch as Ceasefire activates in 2 seconds and the industry CO2 takes 3 minutes just to activate. We have seen how the Ceasefire CO2 extinguisher is designed to be highly portable despite its weight. We have seen how Ceasefire is also quick to activate and effortless to use. We have seen how, because of its remarkable speed, Ceasefire actually packs in more on-site firefighting power. The Ceasefire CO2 extinguisher is also safe to use on B and C classes of fire, and most critical of all Ceasefire CO2 extinguishers carry a Department of Explosives or DOE certification and serial number. So you can be sure that in the midst of a fire crisis, Ceasefire will not let you down. Every Ceasefire CO2 extinguisher also carries the independent quality certifications of ISI, ISO 9001 and the Conformité Européenne or the CE mark. Ceasefire's tangible benefits and features, however, are not complete without the relevant knowledge and service. With every Ceasefire extinguisher you buy, you are also buying into an extensive bank of knowledge, information and training, as well as a guarantee that your equipment will be serviced and maintained by the very experts who designed it. And if you would like to know more about the services and training aspects of Ceasefire's integrated services, or further explore Ceasefire's basket of product offerings, simply pick from the menu that now follows, and the Ceasefire representative will play your chosen segment for you. Thank you.